My name is Anthony Perez. I came to Venice in the year of 2002. Ironic story, I came in recovery in the city of Venice at a place called the Phoenix House. And I had fell out of a two-story building while overdosing on some stuff. I happened to live a block away on the beach here. I was coming from Beverly Hills and I saw this lady with two flat tires and an SUV. And I beat my horn at her because she was in front of me, and I go, hey, what are you doing? And she goes, oh my God, I need help. And I go, pull over, I'll help you. And so I helped this lady with two flat tires, and I called one of my friends from Goodyear down the block. He came out, it was about 4 or 5 p.m. I finished helping her, and all of a sudden, I lost my cell phone, and I left it on the newspaper stand right there in front of the liquor store on Washington. And I couldn't believe I lost it while I was returning the material to the Goodyear. I was like, wow. And so he let me use his phone. I called my phone, and this guy answers the phone. And I said, hey, you're on my phone. And he goes, I know, I found it. I go, well, can I get it back? And he said, sure, no problem. Meet me at Muni's. So I got there, I waited around for this guy, and all of a sudden this guy says, Anthony, I got your phone. And he happened to be a homeless guy. And I go, what are you doing right now? And he goes, nothing. I go, jump in, let's go. And so we're driving along, and I said, hey, we're gonna go to this AA meeting. And he goes, you're an AA? And I go, yeah. I go, I'm gonna introduce you to one of my actor friends. Anyway, I was late because I helped the lady with two flat tires. So we get to this meeting, there's 2 seats only, standing room only, except for these 2 seats in the back. And we sit down, and he looks up at the speaker and he goes, is that your buddy? And I go, yeah. And he goes, that's my favorite actor. Well, it happened to be Danny Trejo. One of Danny's story is that he didn't really become anything until he started doing things for others. And that story was right there in front of me. And I knew that to be true. I just kind of felt it. Anyway, I introduced this guy that I met named David to Danny, and he just thought it was the neatest thing that he could meet his favorite actor. So I brought him back on the beach and he showed me where he lived. He lived in the paddle courts, under the bench, had his blankets out. You know, we came back around 9 p.m. And I go, wow, it's cold out here. How do you do this? And he goes, it don't matter. You know, I just put on a jacket and a sleeping bag and I'm good to go. I lived a block away. It was cold in my apartment. So anyway, I brought him some food one day, 2 packs of hot dogs. I watched him share it with others. And I go, hey Dave, what are you doing? He goes, these are my friends and they're hungry. And they didn't really look homeless, so I didn't really know. And I walked up and I go, well, where are they from? He goes, well, they live on the beach. I go, they're homeless? And he goes, yeah. It kind of touched me that he was feeding them. And I go, hey, how many people on this beach that are homeless? And he says, there's too many to count. And I go, well, if I bring you food, will you be able to feed everybody? And he goes, nah, you have to help me. And I thought, oh, shoot. I don't know if I could do that. I got a job. But I'll tell you what, why don't we start tomorrow? And it just kind of went smooth the first day. We had about 5, 6 people eat. The whole pot was empty that day. And so I go, hey, David, I got to go to work. I'll come back tomorrow. And so before I went to work, I'd make it a point to bring David some food, and we'd stand around. And because he was a veteran, I took a liking to him real good. And we actually started taking food to the other veterans that couldn't get to us, so we'd bring it to them. And it just kept on going. And group of 6 turned into a group of 12, and then the next week it was 20. And my intention was to get David to get breakfast and go to work, get off the beach in Venice. We didn't want like a homeless population living on the beach in Venice. Later, I spoke to Parks and Recs, and they were kind of helping me along with this process of how to do this right, because I really didn't know. And one day the Parks and Recs came and said, Anthony, there is a spot on the boardwalk that has been allocated by the courts that you can actually serve food as an organization to people on the beach. Doesn't have to be homeless, could be anybody, but you can't charge anybody. If you're gonna give away free food, you give it away there. And so I said, well, can I ask for donations? And he said, yeah, you can ask for donations. And I said, yay, all right. We asked for pennies. That helped for a little while, but as the homeless population continued to grow every year since 2006, I started in October 2006. By 2007, it had tripled in size. Now I'm feeding over 100, 110 people, and I didn't know where it was going to come from. And I had to ask God for help. And one of the very next days, I ended up at a food bank. And that told the pastor my story, and he provided me with a van load of food, and it's been nonstop ever since. And so it was really strange how they started to grow from feeding one person into feeding, 7 years later, over 1,500 meals on this beach in Venice. I no longer come every day. I didn't like to see people waiting around for me, and I didn't want to enable anybody from leaving this beach. When people start waiting for me to feed them every single day, that was not my intention. We also provide referral services to recovery homes, crisis lines, runaway hotlines, all the way from San Diego to San Francisco. I would say that if you bought a place in Venice and you come to Venice for the Venice lifestyle, that lifestyle is to be free. I would say don't buy in Venice if you want to try to help run people out of Venice. This is a city that embraces anybody and everybody from all over the world. And if you're a visitor or you're homeless, it doesn't matter who you are. You know, you're welcome in Venice.